Picture this. July 20th, 1969. Neil Armstrong, an American astronaut, becomes the first human to set foot on the moon. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind, he declares, his voice crackling over the airwaves. The world erupts in celebration. This iconic moment, broadcast live on television, cemented America's place as a technological superpower. Or did it? Fast forward to today, and what seemed like an unshakable truth is now shrouded in suspicion. A growing number of people, fueled by internet forums and conspiracy theories, believe the moon landing was an elaborate hoax. They argue that the event was staged, a fabrication orchestrated by the US government to win the space race against the Soviet Union. But why? Why would anyone question such a pivotal event in human history? The answer, it seems, lies in the shadows, literally and figuratively. Skeptics point to inconsistencies in the photographic and video evidence from the moon landing as proof of their claims. They question why the shadows cast by the lunar lander and astronauts appear to be at different angles, suggesting multiple light sources when the only light source on the moon is the sun. Another point of contention is the American flag planted on the lunar surface. In the video footage, the flag appears to wave as if caught in a breeze, despite the moon having no atmosphere and thus no wind. Adding fuel to the fire are the missing NASA tapes. Conspiracy theorists claim that the original footage of the moon landing was deliberately destroyed by NASA to cover up inconsistencies. While NASA maintains that the tapes were simply lost due to outdated archiving practices, the missing evidence has only deepened the suspicions surrounding the event. These inconsistencies, although seemingly insignificant at first glance, have become cornerstones of the moon landing hoax theory, prompting many to question the official narrative. To understand the motivation behind the alleged hoax, we need to rewind the clock to the 1960s. The Cold War was at its peak, with the US and the Soviet Union locked in a fierce competition for global dominance. Both nations saw space exploration as the ultimate battleground, a demonstration of technological superiority and a symbol of ideological victory. The Soviets had taken an early lead in the space race, launching Sputnik, the first artificial satellite, in 1957, followed by Yuri Gagarin, the first human in space, in 1961. These achievements were a major blow to American pride and ignited a national urgency to surpass the Soviets in space exploration. Against this backdrop of intense pressure and nationalistic fervor, the idea that the US might resort to faking a moon landing to claim victory in the space race doesn't seem entirely implausible to some. Section 4. Through the Van Allen belts and beyond, debunking the hoax. One of the most persistent claims made by moon landing deniers concerns the Van Allen radiation belts. These belts, discovered in 1958, are two donut-shaped regions of high-energy charged particles that surround Earth, held in place by the planet's magnetic field. Conspiracy theorists argue that the astronauts could not have survived the lethal doses of radiation while traveling through the Van Allen belts to reach the moon. However, this argument ignores the fact that NASA had carefully considered the radiation risks and taken steps to minimize the astronauts' exposure. The Apollo spacecraft's trajectory was designed to bypass the most intense regions of the belts, and the spacecraft itself was equipped with radiation shielding to protect the crew. Additionally, the astronauts' total time spent within the belts was relatively short, limiting their radiation exposure to safe levels. The Van Allen belts argument, therefore, doesn't hold water when scrutinized against the scientific evidence and NASA's meticulous planning. Section 5. Where were the stars? Unveiling the photographic evidence. The absence of stars in the photographs taken on the moon is another anomaly frequently cited by hoax proponents. They argue that if the photos were truly taken on the moon, the backdrop should be filled with stars due to the lack of atmospheric interference. However, this argument stems from a misunderstanding of basic photography. The moon's surface, even though illuminated by the sun, is still relatively dark. To capture clear images of the astronauts and the lunar landscape, the cameras used by the Apollo missions had to use fast shutter speeds and small apertures, which limited the amount of light entering the lens. These settings, while ideal for capturing images in the dimly lit environment, would not have been sensitive enough to capture the faint light of stars in the background. The absence of stars in the lunar photographs, therefore, is not evidence of a hoax, but a testament to the limitations of photography in challenging lighting conditions. Section 6. To the moon and back, or not. Examining the aftermath. If the moon landing was indeed faked, what does it say about subsequent missions, technological advancements, and the very nature of truth? Skeptics argue that the lack of a return to the moon since 1972 is further proof of a cover-up. They claim that NASA doesn't possess the technology to land humans on the moon, let alone fake it again. However, this argument overlooks the changing political landscape and budgetary constraints that led to the cancellation of the Apollo program. With the Cold War winding down, the political will to fund expensive space missions dwindled. Moreover, advancements in robotic technology have allowed us to explore the moon and other celestial bodies at a fraction of the cost and risk associated with human missions. The absence of a human return to the moon, therefore, doesn't necessarily point to a cover-up, but rather a shift in priorities and technological capabilities. Section 7. A giant leap for mankind or a giant leap of deception. So, did we really land on the moon, or was it all a meticulously crafted illusion? The evidence, as always, is open to interpretation. While the skeptics raise valid points about inconsistencies and potential motives, these arguments often crumble under the weight of scientific explanations and historical context. The moon landing, a defining moment in human history, continues to spark debate and ignite our imagination. It serves as a potent reminder of the power of critical thinking, the allure of conspiracy, and the enduring quest to unravel the mysteries of our universe. Whether you believe in the giant leap for mankind or suspect a giant leap of deception, the moon landing remains a captivating topic that compels us to question, explore, and ultimately form our own conclusions.